Let me just tell you guys something real quick. The thing that I'm about to tell you is going to make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Hey, what's up guys? Edward Zoe here. Please don't mind this little setup. I'm filming something else today. So for this week's episode of the Zoe Code, I'm gonna be going back to my roots a little bit and doing more of a socially conscious chit chat with you guys. Very scaled down, low key, just you and I just talking. No fancy edits or like crazy backgrounds and lighting, anything like that. Just you and I talking as if you're right here in this room with me. Grab yourself some coffee, some tea, some snacks, because we're gonna talk about some very important social things today in this video. So I just woke up to the news that Marvel officially announced who they cast in the very first Marvel-backed Asian superhero movie, that is Shang-Chi, who they cast in the Shang-Chi movie. They just announced it. And I'm geeking out because for those of you who don't know, I'm an Asian American, obviously you guys know that, but I'm an Asian American actor in Hollywood outside of social media. And luckily for this project, I was able to get in on the room for this project and go to the casting and audition, which if you have been following my channel, you know there have been some things in the past where diversity was not always in the room, so to speak. And according to what my agent sent me, the feedback was pretty good for this casting. And so because I had a personal connection to this project, I've been keeping very close eyes and tabs on casting news. Everything that had to do with this project, I was reading up on. And up until last week, we still didn't know who they cast or what was going on. I was bugging the hell out of my agents, calling them like, hey, do you guys know what's happening with the Shang-Chi notice? I know that you guys said casting gave me good feedback. What's going on? So I kind of found out who they cast at the same time as everybody else. And by the way, if you don't know who or what a Shang-Chi is, this movie, Shang-Chi, is basically gonna be a game changer. It is the first Marvel superhero franchise with an Asian protagonist. And not only that, like I said, it's being backed by Marvel, which means a Marvel-sized budget, a Marvel-sized distribution channel. So many people, many eyes are gonna be watching this project, and that is so important to be able to be represented and to be seen on a global scale. This isn't just some indie film or some supporting role to facilitate the main role. This is the title role, bitches. We Asians have finally made it to the Marvel universe. And as you guys know, Marvel is so pervasive and huge in popular culture these days. So it's very huge and a very big win for us to be able to have this movie and to have an Asian actor lead the whole cast. All of that aside, if you're watching this and you're like, okay, an Asian superhero, what's the big deal? Consider yourself privileged because you're lucky enough to be privileged enough to not know what it's like to have a lack of representation or positive representation in mainstream media. Honestly, the privilege to not know what it's like to be practically invisible in mainstream culture. And if you're like, I don't care, I don't know what the big deal is about the Asian superhero, I don't care if the superhero is white, black, whatever, I don't really care. If that's you, that's okay, but it is a socially responsible thing to at least acknowledge and try to understand why it's so important for other people. I mean, this is the first time I'm sharing this with you guys, but I actually cried in the Crazy Rich Asians movie because I was like, finally, I looked around and I was like, wow, everyone in this theater is white and they are all watching us and they're having a great time. There's smiles on their faces. They're really enthralled. They're so caught up in the movie and they're enjoying us. And I was like, this is what it feels like to be seen. Tears. But anyway, that's another video. That should tell you how I feel about representation. But honestly, let's keep it real. If you're watching this and you don't really understand why it's so important, I implore you to please watch the doll test video, which I will be linking down below. And this video, the doll test video, is a very important video that is heart-wrenching that I think people from all backgrounds, no matter where you're from or who you are, I think you can watch this video and appreciate and understand the humanity in it and understand why representation and diversity in our culture is so important. In a nutshell, this video, the doll test video that I'm linking down below, will in a very simple way show you why it's so important, why it's imperative, why it's paramount for young people, especially children, to be able to see themselves, to be able to see positive images of themselves on the big screen in mainstream culture. It will show you why it's so important, not only for them, for people in that demographic or for us, but for people outside of that demographic to be exposed to those diverse elements as well. Because elements that you see in the doll test don't just affect the people who suffer from a lack of representation, it also mentally affects people who are consuming that content as well. We all know from a psychological standpoint, young adults, especially children, develop their sense of identity, belonging, and they construct ideas of who they are through images that they see directly from the media. And this is why, going off on a tangent here, I'm so happy about the Little Mermaid casting. Like, it's so important because now finally, young black girls or even boys can watch themselves as a beautiful Disney princess outside of Princess Tiana, who I love Princess Tiana, but she was a frog for the most of the movie. Okay, so black girls, little black boys, or whoever identifies with that character can watch that and see that and be like, wow, that's a beautiful Disney princess. I can be that too. Okay, well, technically, I guess, no, Ariel is a princess. Yes, they can watch that and identify that and be empowered to feel like they see themselves on the big screen. That is very important when a young child is developing their sense of identity. I don't want to hear anybody talking about they like Little Mermaid ruined their childhood or took what you guys who are feeling that, you can go back and watch the DVD, you can go watch the cartoon. That is still gonna be there for you to watch. The Little Mermaid casting doesn't take anything away from that experience. In fact, it's allowing other people to have the same wonderful experience that you might have had growing up seeing that Disney princess. Now they can watch that too and be like, shit, I'm badass too. That's me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just going off on a tangent, but Little Mermaid, amazing, applauding my shoulder because I'm holding up a selfie stick, but applauding you guys, whoever was responsible for that casting, and I cannot wait to see that movie. Now, the importance of Shang-Chi and the importance of this role and what it means is so big, and it's beyond the Shang-Chi movie, it's beyond the casting of the movie, because in my opinion, Shang-Chi, the movie, obviously we haven't seen it yet and they just announced the casting news, but it has the potential to inspire an entire new generation of young Asian kids specifically to see themselves on screen as the hero, as a multifaceted, fully fleshed character. And then they can see that and feel empowered to be great. Like, let that sink in and let that marinate for a second. That is so important. Like, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. As a young Asian kid, to be able to watch a movie like Shang-Chi, which is gonna be, obviously you guys know the budget is gonna be big. You guys know that the distribution is gonna be big. You guys know that they're gonna make this a good movie. To be able to sit there in the movie theater and be able to watch that, or at home or wherever they see that and see themselves, that is gonna be like a life-changing experience as a child. As not only as a child, but as even as adults, to be able to see yourself on screen, finally, amazing. And personally, that's also one of my mission statements as a social media influencer. As I build my platform, if even one Asian kid looks at me and says, wow, Edward is really out there, he's really killing it, he's doing his thing as an entrepreneur, as a singer, as an actor, as a social media content creator, and I really see him and he looks like me and he's doing his thing, maybe I can do that too. If even one Asian kid sees me and it empowers them to be better or to be great, then I've done my job. And honestly, in my DMs, I see them all the time. There hasn't just been one Asian kid, but just to illustrate a point, if there's even one, then I've done my job. All right, now, so going back to the Shang-Chi casting, the reason why I'm so hype about it is because this is gonna be an epic film that is backed by Marvel Studio. They are going to have a Marvel-sized budget, a Marvel-sized distribution channel. The scale of this movie is going to expand globally. That makes it a project that is going to be seen by many, many, many people. And the effects of this casting in this movie to put an Asian man out there, to portray him as handsome, multifaceted, someone with a story, not just some nerd or not just some supporting character, but a fully fleshed out character, living, breathing human being. To be able to see that in the manner in which Marvel is going to present it to the world, the effects of that is going to be seen for generations and generations to come. Not just for actors and people in the industry, because obviously that's going to help, right? If an Asian actor is put out there, it's going to help all the other Asian actors because it creates more opportunity, but it's not just going to affect or help us. It's going to reinforce and help the general public's perception and the general public as well. And it will serve as a social vehicle for progressive ideas in general for the entire general public. So that's a good thing. In 2019, I think for the most part, at least in social media, everyone is pretty much aware of the importance and the need for diversity and diverse stories. And years ago, before it was even trendy or woke to do so, you guys might remember, if you've been a longtime subscriber of this channel, that I made a very risky video talking about the need for diversity and representation in mainstream culture and specifically in Hollywood. And I also, in that video, incorporated my own experience, my own very real experience as what it was like as an Asian American actor in Hollywood. Let me just tell you guys something real quick. The thing that I'm about to tell you is going to make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, because we've never had momentum like this. It's mind-blowing to me because just in the last year alone, things have changed so much. We had Crazy Rich Asians, which was the #1 movie in the box office, in the US box office, which is not an easy thing to do. We did it, #1. And that same week, Netflix put out To All the Boys I Love, which featured an unconventional Asian female lead in a romantic comedy movie, groundbreaking. And also that same week, BTS put out the #1 album in the country. We had a holy trinity going on. #1 movie at the box office, #1 album in the country from BTS, and also an unconventional female lead in a big Netflix movie. All those things were happening in the same week, and we've never had that kind of momentum before. As an Asian person, growing up, seeing that we were invisible in mainstream culture, and even as recent as a few years ago, undergoing what I went through as an Asian American actor, to be denied an audition because I'm Asian, and then within the last year, all of these 3 things happening, me getting emotional and crying about it in the movie theater, that's just the beginning. Like, I was really just feeling myself that week, feeling our culture, feeling our people, and I was so proud of us. But we had other important events that happened in our journey for representation. In 13 Reasons Why, we had an unconventional Asian jock, which shattered a lot of stereotypes. And then also recently in Black Mirror, one of the episodes featured a good-looking, virile, ripped Asian guy, which is very important. Okay, not just that image is important because most of the time we're seen as emasculated or nerdy, but not only is that visual alone was important, but the icing on the cake is that they literally had him fucking the entire episode, having sex the entire episode. That was amazing. That was much needed because it brought sexuality to the forefront, Asian male sexuality to the forefront, which is often shunned or like kind of brushed under the rug. The average person that was watching that probably didn't understand the importance of that, but for me as an Asian American male, I see that and I'm like, that's really important, and it's so awesome that he was able to be portrayed in that manner because it directly challenges and shatters a lot of the emasculation stereotypes that are existing and out there. And let's not forget that Disney is putting out Mulan, which is going to be an epic story featuring a strong female lead that will be Asian, and that will be something that a lot of little girls out there and even some little boys can watch and see themselves in and feel empowered to be great. It's just amazing how much things have really progressed since I first made that video on my channel about racism in Hollywood, and now we've really come full circle, and there's been so much progressive things that have happened behind the scenes just within the last year alone. So I'm very excited to see the journey that we're heading towards. This kind of stuff has just recently been popping off. And just to keep it real, you guys have to remember that racial politics in Hollywood, it's still not perfect, but huge progress has been made. And I think that's in large part thanks to you guys, the viewers, and the audience, the viewers, the people in social media have made it be known, have made their voices heard that we want diverse stories with diverse characters. So thumbs up for you guys. We are definitely making progress and it's so exciting. I'm also so happy to say that before, like, I was auditioning for things like Computer Guy #2, Hacker #5. But now, because of the progressive nature of things that are happening behind the scenes and percolating for Asians in Hollywood, I'm able to get in the room for some really big budget lead projects. And I'm so incredibly humbled and grateful for those kind of opportunities because even as recent as when I made that last video, those opportunities were not really there. But now within the last year, things are definitely changing. And even though I can't always share with you guys the exact details of all these projects because of professional reasons and because of non-disclosures, just know that things are definitely changing behind the scenes. And it's in large part thanks to you guys, the viewers, the audience, the consumers of this kind of content, telling studios that you guys want diverse stories and making our voices heard. So give yourself a big pat on the back. Another thing that I kind of want to have a chat with you guys about is that a lot of times people outside of the industry struggle to understand the politics that go on in Hollywood. So for those of you who are not actors or for those of you who are not in the industry, getting a big role is not like the Olympics. It's not like a race where everyone is lined up evenly and then the gun sounds off and then people run and whoever gets there the fastest or whoever trains the hardest gets the role. It doesn't work in such a merit-based way because there are some extremely talented actors who have been struggling their whole lives to get their big break and it still hasn't happened for them yet. And I respect these people so much because There is so much work that goes on beyond what you guys can even comprehend if you're not an actor or if you're not in the industry. There's so much of that hard work that is done in silence. Most of it occurs behind the scenes in silence. We're talking about auditions, we're talking about going to classes, we're talking about script breakdowns, we're talking about making your own projects. There's a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes that a lot of people, the general public, don't know about. A lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes, it's like you have to face rejection over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until you finally get that one yes. And then that one yes can be life-changing, and then the gates are completely open from there. And even then, they're not completely open, but you get what I'm trying to say. And that's the story for a lot of actors. There are so many factors beyond your performance that play into whether or not you get a role. It's not like becoming a doctor where like if you go to school and you get good grades, there's a spot guaranteed for you. It doesn't work like that at all. In the world of acting and in the world of entertainment, nothing is guaranteed. Just because you go to acting class, just because you study really hard, just because you're a good actor, that doesn't guarantee you a spot as a lead. That doesn't guarantee you a big role. That doesn't guarantee anything. There are people who move to LA who try for years and years and years and years and years, and they finally get their big break after 10 or 15 or 20 years. There are people that move here and get their first big break with no acting experience. It's not a justified or merit-based system. There's so many factors that go into it. I mean, the same thing happens in pop music. Just because someone has the best voice doesn't mean they're gonna get the #1 song. And just because you have the #1 song, it doesn't mean you're the best singer or that you're the best songwriter or that you're the best dancer. There are so many amazing songwriters, singers, talented people who nobody even knows about. And then there are people in the industry who have very visible platforms that you might see and be like, why did they have the #1 song? Or why did they just secure a $40 million record deal? The point that I'm trying to make with all of this is that a perfect storm of things have to happen in order for certain things to pop off in the entertainment industry. It could be your record label's marketing strategy. It could be being in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people in the right room. It could be a million things. I was watching a movie the other day, and the actor in the movie was discovered by the director on Instagram, and she had never done a movie in her entire life before. And I think that's amazing because it's really a sign of the times, but it's like I also get why it's frustrating for some actors to be able to see that kind of stuff, because on top of all of the racial politics that happen, it really shows how the industry is a numbers game. But it's also exciting because anything in the entertainment industry can happen. When I first made the Death Note video years ago on my channel, I had no idea that things would change so much for Asians in the entertainment industry. Just within the last year, things have been changing so much. There's a lot of exciting energy that's happening for diversity, for Asians, for Asian Americans, in mainstream culture. And to tie this all in, the casting news for Shang-Chi is like a celebratory win for all of us because it keeps things moving forward and it expands the possibilities of what it means to be Asian. And again, like I said, it's going to empower generations to come. So a heartfelt congratulations to everyone involved in the Shang-Chi movie. I can't wait to see it. I'll be one of the first people to see it. I'm so excited for Mulan. I'm so excited for Little Mermaid. I'm so excited for us. We still have a long way to go, but things are finally happening, guys. Inclusion and representation enriches the human experience for all of us, no matter what race or ethnicity you are. So this is a win for humanity. If you watch to the end of the video, I want you to give yourself and also give this video a big thumbs up. And I want to hear what your thoughts are on having more Asian representation. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you still struggle to understand why it's important? Let me know in the comments down below. Judgment-free zone. I always encourage intelligent, respectful discussion in the comments. Or if you just want to say hi to me in the comments, feel free to do that too. I definitely will be reading and checking all of your comments and seeing what your Instagram handles are. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I'll see you soon. My name is Edward Zoe, for those of you guys who don't know, and new video will be out next week or maybe in a few days. There might be a surprise. Peace.